In a world that glorifies movement, noise, and constant engagement, there is a kind of person who chooses stillness. While society celebrates the travelers, the party goers, the endlessly social, another type of strength exists, quiet, steady, rooted. Some people do not crave the world outside, they find meaning inside. Their peace is not found in crowded rooms, but in the sanctuary of their own space. They are often misunderstood, labeled boring, antisocial, or withdrawn. Yet psychology reveals something different. Choosing home is not always escape. It is often emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and inner richness. To love being at home is to understand the power of your own company, the value of quiet thought, and the beauty of a life built from within, not borrowed from noise outside. Home is not their hiding place, it is their kingdom. And where others search outward for comfort and identity, they find it in the quiet corners of their own existence. These individuals understand that peace is not discovered, it is cultivated. When they stay home, they are not avoiding life. They are choosing the version of life that feels true to them. The world outside demands performance, energy, presence, and approval. But the world inside offers authenticity, reflection, and rest. At home, they do not have to play roles. They do not have to impress, entertain, or conform. They simply are, and in that simplicity lies a profound kind of freedom. Their life might look slow to others, but inside there is movement, ideas forming, emotions settling, creativity awakening. They know that growth does not always come from stimulation. Often it comes from silence. People who love staying at home are often deeply connected to themselves. They know their emotional weather, their rhythms, their needs. They don't chase constant excitement because they've learned something precious. A calm heart is worth more than a busy life. They trust quiet. They trust solitude. They don't fear being alone because they have built a relationship with their inner world, one strong enough to stand without external validation. And while society may tell them to go live, they already are. But they live inward first before living outward. They build emotional stability not through distraction, but through presence. And those who master themselves do not need the world to energize them, because they generate peace from within. For people who love staying at home, emotional safety and comfort are not luxuries. They are foundations. Their home is not simply a physical space. It is a psychological sanctuary, a controlled environment where their mind can relax, breathe, and exist freely. When they step into their home, they enter a world where expectations soften, where pressure dissolves, where nothing and no one demands performance. In an outside world filled with judgment, social comparison, noise, and unpredictability, home becomes the place where the nervous system can finally exhale. It is where masks come off, where vulnerability feels safe, where the soul rests without fear of being misunderstood or measured. To them, comfort is not laziness. It is emotional nourishment. People who find peace at home usually understand the importance of tranquility. They have likely felt the emotional cost of chaos, of overstimulation, of being constantly on for others. They understand what it means for their mind to be drained and their heart to feel heavy after social environments or frenetic schedules. Home becomes their recharge center, not because they reject the world, but because they value their energy enough to protect it. They have learned that peace is not found in louder experiences or more activities. It is found in knowing what environments support your mental well-being and choosing them unapologetically. Psychologically, these individuals often have strong self-awareness. They know what overwhelms them, what comforts them, what allows them to think clearly and feel emotionally regulated. Instead of forcing themselves into social situations that drain them or environments that disconnect them from themselves, they choose the setting that keeps them anchored. Their preference for home is a preference for emotional clarity, sovereignty, and stability. They would rather feel settled than scattered, connected to themselves instead of lost in external noise. For them, home is strength, not avoidance. Inside their sanctuary, they can hear their own thoughts. They are not reacting. They are processing, reflecting, understanding. This inner life is rich and active. Thoughts slow down long enough for meaning to emerge. Feelings are felt fully, not rushed or suppressed. Creativity can unfold without interruption. They experience life deeply, not at the surface. In a society that mistakes constant motion for progress, they understand a quiet secret. Depth grows in stillness. Insight grows in silence. Authenticity grows when the world's pressure steps away and your true voice becomes audible. Most importantly, the emotional comfort they feel at home comes from the freedom to be themselves completely. No expectations, no personas, no competition, no performance. In privacy, they reclaim their wholeness. They are not antisocial. They simply refuse to trade peace for pretense. They have found a place where they belong without trying, where they breathe without thinking, where existence itself feels enough. In a world that chases everywhere else, they have discovered something many spend a lifetime searching for: the ability to be at home, not just in a place, but in themselves. People who love staying at home often possess a rich inner world, and solitude becomes fuel for their creativity and deep thinking. When life outside demands constant reaction, responding to conversations, navigating crowds, performing socially, home gives them space to originate. Instead of reacting to the world, they create within themselves. Their thoughts stretch further, their imagination breathes freely, and ideas take shape without interruption. In the quiet, their mind becomes a fertile landscape where new concepts, dreams, and insights can grow. Creativity is not merely a talent for them. It is a natural consequence of having time, space, and peace to enter their inner universe without distraction. Psychologically, the human brain enters a different mode in solitude. Away from stimulation and noise, cognitive resources shift from survival and social processing to reflection, association, and innovation. People who enjoy staying home intuitively understand this. They don't need to chase inspiration outside. They find it in silence, in stillness, in the rhythm of their thoughts. They can spend hours reading, writing, designing, imagining, or simply thinking. And from those moments, new ideas emerge. Where others may feel bored at home, they feel alive. Their mind is their playground, and solitude is their canvas. Many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, philosophers, and inventors were drawn to solitude. Not because they hated people, but because deep ideas cannot be born in noise. Creativity requires incubation, time to sit with curiosity, wander mentally, question reality, and explore without the pressure to immediately perform or explain. Home becomes a protected psychological laboratory where they can experiment mentally, emotionally, and creatively without judgment. It is here, in the quiet corners of their home, that they find breakthroughs that loud environments might suffocate. This ability to thrive in quietness also reflects emotional maturity. They do not fear silence because they are comfortable confronting themselves, their thoughts, insecurities, ideas, and dreams. Most people run toward noise to avoid themselves. Those who love staying home move toward silence so they can hear themselves. That takes courage, it takes grounding, it takes emotional resilience. A peaceful environment allows them to meet their inner world with honesty, and in doing so they grow. Their creativity is often misunderstood. Others may assume their love for staying home means inactivity or isolation, but in reality, they are far from idle. Their mind is constantly working, shaping, wondering, building worlds inside long before they bring anything into the physical one. To them, solitude is not lack, it is expansion. It allows them to create a life of meaning instead of chasing stimulation. They don't need chaos for inspiration. Their thoughts are enough. Their quiet is powerful. Their imagination is loud. And while the world hustles to be heard, they quietly build ideas that may one day be heard by many. Proof that true creativity often grows where the world cannot see it. In the peaceful solitude of a mind unafraid to be alone. When a person loves staying at home, one of the most telling psychological qualities they possess is emotional independence. They are not chasing external validation or constantly needing social stimulation to feel worthy, entertained, or relevant. In a world where many people seek connection, attention, and reassurance through constant interaction. The home. Lovers find contentment within themselves. Their peace is not dependent on crowds, events, or endless conversations. They do not feel uncomfortable in silence, nor do they view solitude as punishment. Instead, they see it as a sanctuary where they can simply exist without pressure, judgment, or expectation. This emotional self-sufficiency is not coldness, it is a strength. It reflects a maturity that understands happiness cannot always come from outside. Sometimes it must be grown from within. To be emotionally independent means they have cultivated an inner life rich enough to fill their own space with meaning. They are thinkers, observers, and feelers who do not require noise to feel alive. Some may see them as quiet or reserved, but inside them lives a mind constantly processing, reflecting, and learning. They enjoy their own company because they know themselves deeply. They do not rely on the external world to distract them from internal emptiness because there is none. Instead, solitude becomes a mirror where they see their strengths, weaknesses, dreams, and truth. This level of internal clarity is rare, and many who fear being alone are uncomfortable with what they might meet inside their own silence. People who love staying at home are often more selective with relationships. They do not fear loneliness, but they do value meaningful companionship. They choose depth over quantity, quality over frequency. They do not surround themselves with people simply to avoid silence. They build connections that truly nourish them. Because they do not depend on others for emotional stability, they offer cleaner, more sincere relationships. They are not clingy, they are not draining. They do not demand constant attention or reassurance. They come into relationships full, not empty, giving instead of taking. When they love quietly, but deeply, consistently, and loyally. However, emotional independence does not mean isolation. It means balance. It means they have learned to sit with themselves without fear and stand alone without collapsing. It means they do not rush to others for every emotional need because they have built internal strength. In many ways, this trait protects them from emotional manipulation or dependence. They cannot be easily controlled by fear of losing company because they know they are enough, even when alone. Ultimately, people who love staying at home often have mastered something most people spend years chasing: inner peace. They embrace calmness, comfort, and authenticity over performance and pressure. They do not fear missing out on the world because they have found a place where life feels honest and gentle. Their own space, their own rhythm, their own mind. And in that quiet sanctuary, they build a life that is not dependent on noise, but guided by peace. People who genuinely love staying at home often do so because home is where they experience deep mental restoration. The outside world, with all its demands, unpredictability, and emotional noise, can drain them more than it energizes them. While some people feel recharged by socializing, crowds, and constant activity, these individuals find their balance in stillness. Their nervous system feels safest in environments they can control, where energy isn't constantly being pulled from them, where they don't have to perform, and where they can simply breathe. Home becomes a psychological anchor, a place where their mind decompresses and resets. It's not laziness, nor is it antisocial behavior. It is a form of emotional recovery, a quiet return to equilibrium. Mental restoration at home often reflects a structured internal life. They may enjoy routines, familiar spaces, and predictable environments because these conditions allow their mind to function without anxiety or overstimulation. In their own world, they know where everything is, how the day will unfold, and what energy is required from them. Compared to chaotic outside environments, home offers peace. It is where their senses relax. No loud noise, no pressure to socialize, no constant flow of stimulation. Their thoughts can stretch and breathe freely. This stillness allows them to reflect, organize, and understand their inner experiences deeply. Many creative thinkers, writers, deep feelers, and introspective personalities require this stillness to operate at their highest capacity. People who prioritize staying home are often misunderstood. Society praises constant connection, travel, events, and social presence. We are taught that success lives outside, in meetings, gatherings, and public recognition. But there is another kind of success, the internal one. The success of a calm mind, a stable emotional world, and a peaceful spirit. These individuals don't fear missing out. They value mental clarity more than external activity. They conserve their energy for meaningful purposes rather than scattering it across countless interactions. Their choice to be home is not escape. It is intentional preservation of mental well-being. In their quiet routines, they build emotional resilience. They regain strength by resting their spirit and mind. They reflect and understand life instead of constantly running through it. Their quiet helps them reconnect with themselves in a world that constantly pulls us away from our own center. The more time they spend in peace, the more grounded they become. And when they finally step into the world, they do so with a full heart and a rested mind, not out of pressure, but out of choice. The greatest irony is this: while many chase peace in vacations, retreats, and escapes, these individuals have mastered the art of building peace inside their own walls. Home is not confinement, it is freedom. It is where they repair, grow, and silently strengthen. It is where their inner world is nurtured, and from that quiet sanctuary they live not hurriedly, but deeply. People who love staying at home often have a deeply nurtured capacity for self-contentment, and this is one of their quiet superpowers. In a world where so many rely on external stimulation to feel alive, these individuals have learned to enjoy their own company. They do not fear solitude, they appreciate it. Instead of seeking validation from crowds or needing constant plans to feel significant, they derive satisfaction from personal routines, private hobbies, and inner fulfillment. This self-contentment reflects emotional maturity. It means they are not desperate for external distractions because they already feel comfortable with who they are, where they are, and what they have. They don't need noise to silence their thoughts because their inner dialogue isn't a threat. They've made peace with it. This trait is often misunderstood. Society equates constant activity with success, busyness with importance, and social visibility with happiness. But self-content people challenge that narrative simply by existing. They prove you can live fully without being in motion all the time. Their happiness doesn't come from chasing moments. It comes from appreciating quiet ones. A simple morning routine, a cup of tea, a book, music, or even silence can be enough. They don't require the world's permission to feel fulfilled. They have granted that permission to themselves. Their life is not lesser. It is simply inward, focused, calm, and intentional. Being content at home also means they have a stable emotional foundation. They do not feel a constant hunger for attention because they have learned how to nourish their sense of self privately. They find joy in small things, meaning in simple actions, and comfort in environments they understand. They are not dependent on external entertainment or people to fill their time, so loneliness does not scare them the way it scares others. In fact, solitude feels like peace, not punishment. This is not isolation, it is inner alignment. When your mind is your companion rather than your enemy, solitude becomes a friend. Ironically, people who are happy at home often handle the outside world better when they choose to enter it. They don't approach life with emotional exhaustion or social anxiety because their energy is protected. Their happiness isn't fragile. It isn't built on circumstances. It comes from within. And when someone can sit alone without feeling empty, they carry a quiet strength that cannot be shaken. They may not always be loud, visible, or socially dominant, but they possess something rare: the ability to feel whole without needing the world to complete them. Another key psychological trait of people who love staying at home is their tendency to be deeply introspective. These individuals are not simply avoiding the world. They are often engaging with an inner world that is just as rich, if not richer. They think, reflect, analyze, and observe life quietly. Their solitude allows them the mental space most people rarely access. Instead of scattering their energy across countless social interactions, they conserve it and turn it inward, cultivating clarity and emotional intelligence. They ask themselves real questions. Who am I becoming? What truly matters to me? What drains me and what fulfills me? And in this self-examination, they uncover layers of truth many never pause long enough to discover. Their home becomes a sanctuary for reflection, not an escape from reality. When they avoid unnecessary noise, it's not because they reject life, it's because they want to meet life on their own terms. They would rather sit with their thoughts than drown them in distractions. This introspection enables them to understand their emotions more deeply and face themselves honestly. They do not need constant stimulation because they know how to stimulate their own mind. They enjoy thinking, dreaming, planning, imagining, and evaluating life with intention. While others rush from one event to another to avoid boredom, these individuals treat stillness as a doorway to insight. Introspective homebodies often develop stronger self-awareness. They recognize their emotional triggers, understand their preferences, and respect their limits. They don't chase every opportunity or social engagement because they know not all connections are meaningful. Not all invitations are worthy of their time. This clarity doesn't make them cold or distant, it makes them mindful. And mindfulness is a rare virtue in a world running on autopilot. This kind of inner reflection also makes them better decision makers. They are less likely to follow trends blindly or get swept into group thinking. They question, analyze, and choose based on personal truth rather than external pressure. They are not afraid to say no asterisk, not because they dislike people, but because they value their mental and emotional peace. In a society where many avoid silence to escape themselves, the home-loving introspective person stands apart. They face themselves daily, willingly, and thoughtfully. That courage builds wisdom, and wisdom, unlike attention, is something only the quiet soul knows how to earn. Another defining trait of people who love staying at home is their ability to find fulfillment in simplicity. In a world that constantly pushes more excitement, more activity, more socializing, more achievements, these individuals find joy in less. They possess a quiet appreciation for ordinary moments, a warm cup of tea in the morning, the comfort of their own bed, sunlight spilling through their window, music playing softly in the background, or the peace of reading a book uninterrupted. What others overlook as mundane, they experience as meaningful. They don't need grand events or constant stimulation to feel alive. They feel it in stillness, in routine, in the gentle rhythm of familiar surroundings. This preference reveals emotional maturity and an evolved sense of contentment. While many chase happiness in external experiences, those who love staying home have learned that satisfaction can be self-created. Their happiness is not dependent on social approval or external excitement, but on inner balance. They know how to entertain themselves, how to rest without guilt, how to enjoy their own company. They understand that peace is not found in movement, it is found in presence. And they have mastered the art of being present in the simplest parts of life. People who enjoy simplicity tend to have healthier emotional boundaries because they don't constantly seek validation or distraction. They are less likely to cling to draining people or environments. They choose depth over noise, stability over chaos, and authenticity over performance. They are often more emotionally grounded, less reactive, and more selective, and that makes their inner life richer, not smaller. And ironically, this simplicity makes them far more resilient than society assumes. When life becomes hectic, they don't crumble, they return to their inner refuge, recalibrate, and continue. They don't need escape because they have already built peace within themselves. To love simplicity is not to lack ambition or passion. It is to refuse to let life become complicated when it doesn't need to be. It is a quiet rebellion against a world obsessed with speed and spectacle. Home lovers prove that true fulfillment isn't found in noise, crowds, or constant movement. It's found in savoring life's quiet gifts, in being enough as you are, and in recognizing that real richness comes not from how much you do, but from how deeply you experience the moments that matter.